In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and shiny-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. I'm Vicky Fraser and this is Joe.
Hello.
Hello. And we are coming into your ears from Joshua Tree National Park in California. We're in the frickin' desert.
In the frickin' desert. California, baby.
And if you're watching the video version of this, then you can see that we are sitting on the front porch of our beautiful hotel room at the 29 Palms Inn in the town of 29 Palms, California. Which is...
right on the edge of Joshua.
Yeah. And half an hour ago, a roadrunner ran across the front of our little front garden thing.
Which is nice.
Just behind the cactus that we're looking at right now. Which is really cool. So we've just spent the weekend in San Diego, in Encinitas, San Diego, doing the Breaking Bread Mastermind. And I think it's probably the best one yet.
Blimey, that's a bold claim.
Yeah, it was just stupendous. It was a bit of a wild card because I didn't know, I only knew one of the people who was coming, Dom. Hi, Dom.
Hi, Dom.
And I know he's brilliant, so that was cool. Misty knew three of the other ladies who were coming, and there was one lady that we didn't know. And it's always a bit scary when you don't know somebody who is kind of coming on one of these things.
Because it's quite a kind of up close and personal sort of sociable thing, isn't it?
Yes.
You want to have a group that works. It's a bit risky when somebody you don't know turns up.
Yeah, it's really important because we're having all our meals together. We're spending all day together, working really hard. Mm-hmm. And it's just super important that everyone gets on because just one wrong person in the group can throw off the entire thing and just can ruin everything.
And how many wrong people did you have?
None. And you know what, guys? That's not an accident. When you market your business with your personality and put everything that's you into it and don't try and be something else and don't try and be somebody you're not, you will attract the type of people that you want, that are like you, the type of people you want to do business with. And that's exactly what everyone should be doing.
For sure.
It's really important. So one of the things that we talked quite a lot about this weekend is writing books. Because we're back on the seven quarks of successful business owners again, aren't we? And the next quark that we're talking about is what almost every successful business owner has in common. They all have their own book. At least one book.
At least one book.
At least one
Many
book. Many book. And if you look at American presidents as well, you'll notice that they all have their own books too.
So what's going on there? Why do people write books?
Well, we've kind of done this before, but we're going to do it again because I don't think enough people are paying attention to it. People write, the reason that I would like you, dear listener, to write your book is because it's just a really quick and not necessarily quick, not necessarily easy. It's a really simple way to build your expert status and credibility. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the ultimate business card, but think about it this way. If you get to say to people, I literally wrote the book on the subject, then that automatically confers giant expert status onto you. Excuse the car going past. But yeah, you literally wrote the book on the subject. You know at least enough about your subject area, about your industry to fill an entire book. For sure.
I'm just sitting here enjoying the view.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I said earlier, American presidents write books, in the run-up to their election, and it's true. And the reason they do it is because they know the power of a book. We've talked about this before, that you need, the power of books used to come from in the old days. It was only priests and the super, super rich who could read and write. And so they were the keeper of all knowledge. And they dispensed all that knowledge to, the plebs like you and me. And, that
was their power.
That was their power, yeah. And that's the reverence that we hold authors in today is a hangover from the days where that power was concentrated in only a very few hands. So it's really important. But I wanted to talk a little bit this week about what we did with the guys in Breaking Bread. Because I think I know that everybody in that group is going to go away and write their book because that's what I told them to do. But let's start with Dom. He is a book machine. I think he's on book like 4 or 5 at the moment. And his first book was How to Be Your Dog's Superhero. And then he wrote Walk Yourself Wealthy, and he's written Worry Free Walks, and he's got a bunch of other books on the way out as well.
So he's a top end dog trainer, isn't he?
Yes.
And helps people put their business together.
Yeah, he's the UK's leading pet business expert. And part of the way he got there, part of the reason he got there, is because he's written books and he keeps writing books. There's another lady there whose idea was she knows a lot of very high net worth women, and her business the direction she wants to take her business in is to kind of gather their wisdom and put it out there for everybody else. And so I'm really excited about the book that she's writing. I'm not going to put too many details out there because that's up to her to do. But it's a book that I don't think has been written before. There have been plenty of books written about rich men because the world is full of books by and for and about rich men. But she's writing this amazing book by and for and about super rich women, and not just about the money side of things, but about everything that goes with it. And so I'm really excited about that. And that's a direction that I think is going to that's going to open doors for her and take her life and her business in directions that she never dreamed of. And it's going to be super exciting. Another lady was along, and she actually doesn't run her own business, but she's got a very entrepreneurial role in another lady's business. And one of the things that they've got a lot of ebooks that they've written, and ebooks are great and ebooks are wonderful. I write a lot of ebooks myself for myself and my clients, but nothing can compare to having your own print book that is designed to aim at the top echelons of the type of people that you want to do business with. Because one of the problems that we solved for them in this Breaking Bread Mastermind was how do we reach the next level up of clients in our business? They needed to reach the upper levels of who they wanted to do business with. They had 3 levels of business. They had like a do-it-yourself, which was very low level. There were the ebooks and things like that and the courses. They had a middle tier of people who were, will help you do it. And it's a little bit of both, a little bit done for you, a little bit of help. And then they had an upper level, which was coaching and, hand holding and, so it was a bit more expensive. One of the things that Misty did with them was, you need to separate the price points for these more because they're all too close together. And then I said, we need to add an extra tier on top. There are people out there, there's always people out there who will pay the absolute top-notch rate for as much as you can do for them. Always. You don't need many of them. If you've got a £25,000 package, how many of those do you need a year? Yeah,
not so many.
Not so many. And I tell you now, it's a lot easier to reach, 3 £25,000 a year packages than 1,000 £1,000 packages. It's so much easier. It's really counterintuitive, and you will have to approach it massively differently. You cannot do the same marketing for the £1,000 people as the 25 grand people.
No.
But one of the ways in which you can do that is to write a book aimed very specifically at that very top level of people. And we had a look at what kind of Lindsay's clientele were, and then we had a look at the type of people that she could be aiming at and maybe should be aiming at, and we thought, what are they gonna want? They're not scrabbling around desperate for whatever it is that Lindsay's company is offering, but they are gonna want it. So how do we approach that? And that's one of the ways we came up with it, is write that book and hang everything off that. That's how you start. So that's a really important point to take away. Part of the reason we write books is so that you can market the book and not the business.
Sure.
It's much easier to do it that way.
And people will come.
Write it. I don't say write it and people will come, because that's not true. You still have to do the work, the marketing work. But yeah, the book will do a lot of the hard work for you. It really will. Who else did we talk about? Okay, so there is Terry, who's got 2 really great ideas. One of her books is already written. She just needed to kind of package it up and edit it. So she wants to do stuff on the mindset of weight loss, which I think is a great idea, because it turns everything that the nasty little weight loss industry does and flips it on its head. And she's written diaries and journals of her own weight loss journey, and so she's already got the material there. And the other business, the business that's going to make her money in the short term, again, she can very easily put together a book specifically for the types of people. I think she does RFPs Can you explain to the listeners what an RFP is?
An RFP would be a request for proposal.
And what does Terry do? She responds to them, doesn't she, for people?
Yeah, she writes them for people. So a company would put out an RFP, which is a document that describes what they need, and then you would write a proposal to meet it.
Yeah. And that's what, and it's a very difficult thing for a lot of businesses to do because it's a very specific document. I've written a bid before and I'm never going to do it again. I had one go at it. I hated it. Terry is an absolute wizard at this. And she takes people's chances of being accepted for these proposals from something like most people have a 20% chance. And that's pretty much the same across the board in the UK as well, because that's what Tim told me it was. When she does them for people, the chances of being accepted goes up to 83%, I think she said.
That's a big difference.
That's a massive difference. And when you consider that the projects that she's helping people bid for are, from the multi six figures into the millions, that's,
whatever
she charges for that. She threw a figure at me and we were like, you need to charge a lot more than that. Because when when you contrast it with the amount of money that somebody can make, somebody's going to win a £10 million project. Suddenly your 10 grand looks piddly. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So
if you can demonstrate it's going to take you from a 20% chance to an 80% chance.
Yeah, then that money it's a much lower risk.
Yeah.
It's a much lower risk. It's not a sure thing because there's no such thing as a sure thing, but an 80% chance of having your bid
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So she can write a book aimed at people who need to write bids.
Yeah.
And, it's like, she can set it all out, exactly how she does it.
She can give away all the secrets and people will still come to her.
People will still come to her because I tell you now, and having, being paid a lot of money by somebody to write a bid, they're a massive pain in the arse and I never want to do another one. So if somebody can be paid to do it, this is the thing, you see, in your book, you can give away all of your very best secrets and not worry about it. This is one of the questions that came up over the weekend, actually, was, well, how much information do I put in my book? What do I put in there? Because if I give away all my secrets, then
they might just do it for themselves.
They might just do it for themselves. And you know what? 1% of people will do it for themselves. They will read your book. They will love your book. They will take everything that you write in your book and they will do a really good job of it for themselves. And they will tell everybody about it and they will say how wonderful you are. And they will be one of your biggest advocates.
They'll pass your book around to everybody.
They will. And then they might come to you in future and they might not, but that's not the point. Because the other 99% of people are not going to do it for themselves. And, they're not all going to come to you.
No.
But some of them are.
They're going to be better educated people.
They're going to be better educated people. They're going to know exactly what they need to know before they do it. And, I tell people exactly how to write sales letters, exactly how to write homepages, exactly how to write emails, and I don't care if they do it themselves. But what I do know is that once I've told them exactly how to do all of these things, if they do come to me for the work, then they're going to know exactly what I do and how I do it, and they're not going to argue.
And they've possibly tried themselves, failed, and realised why the price is so high.
Yes.
So they've read your book, they've tried it themselves, they've realised it's an absolute nightmare of work and hardness, and they haven't got time for this.
Yeah, and they don't want to do it.
They don't want to do it.
It's not their core area of expertise. So, why do it themselves? If they can get somebody else to do it, and somebody who's literally written the book on the subject, then why on earth would they not? It really is as simple as that. And, even with all that said, that it's just really cool to have a book of your own.
It's really a great business card.
It's a great business card. It's so much more than a business card. I mean, people are not going to forget if you leave them with a book rather than just a little square of paper. They are not going to forget who you are. And books change lives as well. I had the most wonderful email from Sean. Hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Over the weekend, and it just made me cry. It had me in tears. I read it out during my teaching session in Breaking Bread because that's how I started my teaching session, because I wanted people to realise what kind of a relationship writing a book can build. And the email that Sean wrote me was just beautiful, and it wasn't just you've helped me to do all this stuff with my business. It was also you've helped lift me out of a depression. And that wasn't my intention. I don't know anything, apart from my own experiences. I'm not an expert on that stuff. So, you touch people's lives in ways that you never realize. You do that anyway, but when you write a book, the effect that you can have on people's lives from a distance around the world is incredible. And that in itself is reward. And
that that Sian is passing that book around, recommending it to people. She's potentially going to turn up in the future looking for some help with a few things. She's going to write a book. She's going to want help writing a book. She's going to want all kinds of things.
Yeah. I mean, she said, as soon as I've got the money together to write a book, I'm on your book course. And I know she will because, she knows this works because she's read my book. And that's the thing. What were you going to say?
No, that's entirely right.
Yeah, it is entirely right. And speaking of book courses, because I do talk, I talk a lot about how you should be writing your own book and how I want everyone to write their own books. And I'm very well aware that writing a book sounds like a really difficult and terrifying prospect. So what do we not do, Joe?
We don't sit down with a big white piece of paper and start writing a book.
That's exactly what we don't do. What we do, and I'm going to give you the secret of how to start writing a book here. You need to decide, you may know this already, you may not quite know, but you need to decide what the biggest, burningest, thorniest, painfulest question, problem, challenge that most of your market faces is. So, what thing causes them the most pain? What question do you get most often? And your book should answer that question or solve that problem.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make is, I need to throw everything that I know into this one book. And you don't. You don't need a massive War and Peace book. What we're after is depth rather than breadth here, because you can write as many books as you like about all aspects of your business and what you do. So, for example, my next book, the one I'm going to Lanzarote to write in 2.5 weeks, I know I'm such a fucking jet setter, it's going to be called Write Yourself Wealthy. And it's all about how to write your book. And I'm going to lay out exactly step by step how to write your book. So, you guys can jump on that train. But that's it. That's all it is. It's not like how to write your book and then do 53 million other things with it. It's going to be how to sit down and write your book, how to get it done. Simple as that. The next one is going to be how to do amazing things with it. So I start off with that question. People are like, how do I even start to write a book? And that's the question that I ask.
Yeah. What is the big issue?
What is the big issue? Yeah. And it might be, for you, it might be oh God, I can't think of any questions for anything.
Lead generation.
Lead generation. Oh, no, that's boring.
Oh, okay.
How do I grow cacti? It's like, my cactus keeps dying.
Okay.
I cannot keep my cactus alive. I'm looking at cactus right now. It's taller than me, it's amazing. My cactus keeps dying. And so the burning question is, I really love my cactus. How do I keep my cactus alive? And that's what you start with. How do I stop my cactus from dying? How do I grow a healthy cactus garden? Okay. That might be your thing.
Start off, be in California.
Being in California or Texas is probably a good start. But yeah, that's the one question that you want to ask if you're a cactus expert. And then you just take that one question and you break it down into 6 or 8 or 10 or 15.
And you could be talking about nutrition and hydration and environment.
How to grow from seed, what kind of pot to grow it in, what kind of weather, what happens when it flowers.
Yeah.
What happens when it stops flowering?
Should you be picking the things off? All kinds of stuff.
How do you make marmalade out of it? Because that's a thing, apparently. So there's
marmalizing your cactus if you love it is probably not such a friendly thing to do to it.
I don't know, probably not. But yeah, that's all of your chapters. And then we'll come back in the future and talk a little bit more about how to write your book on this podcast.
I'm just pleased I said marmalizing.
Yeah, I know you are. If you're not already convinced about writing a book, then, write your book.
For goodness sake,
write your book. Joe's going to talk to you for a moment while I find something.
Oh my God.
You can talk about what we've been doing. Yesterday.
Yesterday, this place is so beautiful. I hesitate to say, we're kind of measuring success by travel, aren't we?
Yeah.
That is one of Misty's phrases.
Yeah.
Okay, so measuring success by travel. So we're doing all right, aren't we?
Yeah.
You're doing all right.
We wanted to be, me and Misty were talking about this when we first started Breaking Bread. It's like, what do we want to do? What do we want this to do for us? We don't want it to make us loads. Well, it'd be great if it made us loads of money, but that wasn't the idea of the Breaking Bread. We wanted to make it affordable for people who couldn't afford to attend the really high ticket, 10 grand masterminds. We wanted something that didn't tie people in. And we thought, okay, we want to hold it in inspiring and wonderful places around the world. Mm-hmm. And if the fees that we take from people cover all of our costs plus a holiday for us at the same time,
spot,
at that spot, like a week afterwards, then we will count ourselves rich.
Entirely successful and rich.
Yes.
So here we are. We're sitting just on the edge of Joshua Tree, staying in a beautiful little place, 29 Palms Inn.
Which I can't recommend highly enough.
Just lovely.
Just so great.
And yesterday we spent the day trogging around in the desert. Yeah. We drank gallons of water. We had a picnic. We saw jumbo rocks. We saw skull rock. We
saw Joshua trees, which are just incredible.
All over the place. Bonkers.
And a cactus garden, a cholla cactus garden.
Yeah.
Which was terrifying because if you even touch them, then they spear you forever.
It's like everything you touched just was evil. But it's beautiful. Yeah. Really, really, really lovely.
And part of the reason that we are here doing this is that I wrote a book 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That's brought people into my world and has launched this podcast and has built relationships with people that made them want to travel halfway across the world to be with us.
That's a thing.
That is a fucking thing, guys. So, it wasn't just the book, but the book was what kind of launched the whole
a big
thing.
Piece of the pie.
Massive piece of the pie. So I really, really want you to write your book. And I'm going to help you do it because even if I give you all of the stuff, even if I tell you how to do it, you still need exercises to do. You need to be told what to do.
The discipline to get on with it.
Yeah. Some people are just going to go write a book and those people are great. But I would like you to do my course. Mm-hmm. I've brought the price down quite a lot. There's a lot less of me involved now. But it's still step by step, simple. And you can get my course by going to vickyfraser.thinkific.com/courses/published-in-90-days. I know that's a really shit URL.
That's a bit tough, yeah.
The link will be in the show notes. But that's vickyfraser.thinkific.com/courses/published-in-90-days.
Nice.
Yes. And it's, you get a free preview. It's £500, which is, a bloody good price for what is essentially a 12-week course if you spread it out. Mm-hmm. And it will take you right from ideas all the way through to finishing your book, through to marketing your book and using it to do really cool stuff. So it's not just a how to write your book course. It's also a how to make money out of your book course. Do
something with it.
Yes. If you have any questions about it at all, just drop me an email, vicky@vickyfraser.com, and I will answer them. I will walk you through how it works and all the rest of it. Otherwise, get writing. Create ripples in the world. One of my favourite quotes ever from my favourite author, Terry Pratchett, is, "Nobody is really dead until the ripples they create in the world have faded away." And what better way to create as permanent as you can get ripples than write a good book that people love, that touch people's lives?
Nice.
Yeah. And on that note,
we need to go and drive a few hours back to San Diego.
So we can meet Dom for lunch.
Hi, Dom.
And then get on a plane.
For
years, it feels like.
Yeah. We've got to go to LA and then we've got to go to Heathrow and then we've got to drive home.
Yes. So we're going to do that. And we will be back same time next week with the next quark of successful business people. And Joe, thanks very much.
No worries. Thank you.
Be good. If you can't be good, don't get caught. Bye.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues. Tell your friends. Send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.